I'm gonna walk her up to this person, have her sit. You always approach the person, you never have them approach you or her. Good, Artemis, because, not that she is this way with people, but a lot of dogs can become, over time, apprehensive of people if they keep approaching them. Like if you've got her on a leash and she's kind of jumping or whatever, she's excited, and that person comes over to you like that, that's the worst way to have her introduced. Ask the person to wait there, you approach them, you send her to them, she sits, you step over, you give him a treat or something to give her, you go back to her. See how she's got a really solid sit stay. Of course, we practice this every day, of course. So the leash is loose. If she does pop up before you release her, you just tap her and she'll go right back. With your right hand, you're going to pat her chest and say, go say hi. She's going to go over there and get a treat from the person. Come. Did she eat it? Yes. She grabbed it. She ran right back to me. That's what starts to happen when you practice this every day, is they go over, they grab the treat, and then they run right back to you. Sit, because this is the game. They want to get back to you as soon as possible. That's what you want with any dog. What you don't want is what people usually have. They don't come back when they're called. They don't see you as the center of the universe and as home base. And they pull you around. They guard you like you're a possession to guard. And they go over and they might snap the person because he tried to pet her as well. But she ran back to me because back here the treat's waiting and she sits next to me and she feels comfortable and safe with this. Good. So we're just going to send her over. Also, there's no jumping on people, overexcitement, any of that kind of stuff. Go say hi. Good. Come. Good. I just want the camera to see this. Usually I'd just be like this. Come. I'd call her to me straight from the other person. One more time. Sit. Grab her leash with this hand. So grab the leash so she can't run right back. And you can even start throwing in a little sit stay where you walk around her both ways, just to practice her level of focus, making it better. And then go say hi, come, and then call her back to you. Good. And that's the greeting routine. Sit. We have two gates here, but I'll just show you the last gate, the most important gate, one leading out to the street. She sits, she waits, just in case the shadow is obscuring her. Okay, sit. So I know you can see her right at the gateway. This is a very tough boundary for her to wait at, because this is where you come out on the street. There's all kinds of stuff out here, people, dogs, all kinds of things. And she needs to wait until she's released to walk through with you. Okay, like that. If you're by yourself, you have to close a gate or something, or a doorway, just do that little left turn. See me doing them all throughout these clips, and you're always turning into her. It's like a tap, which slows her down, and a turn. If you don't do that and you go like this, you're going to end up either restraining her or dragging her with you, and a tight leash is your enemy. It creates overstimulation in a dog, stress, anxiety, so you're always tapping and turning. If I need to take a right turn, it's my opportunity, it's another opportunity to say, okay, do a left turn to go right, and see how it draws her right back to me. And if she speeds up at all, it's just gentle tapping. It's all it takes with this. The more you do those left turns, which draw the dog back to you naturally, back next to you, the more she just gets used to being there, and the more you'll see that she doesn't pull, and she just kind of just hangs there naturally whenever you're walking with her. And this is actually the last step of that whole process that started on the inside of my front door. We were taking her for a walk, and that's where we start. On the inside of the house, we hook her up to the leash. Training starts before you go through that front door, before you open the front door. She sits and waits, do the boundary thing, walk through the yard. You saw the gate clip, and now we're at a curb doing the walk around sit stay. She's waiting, okay. And we always treat the street as this is another calm zone. Usually the doorways, the streets, they're the red zones where the dog pulls you across or pulls you through. You're gonna keep coming this way? But we're treating this as the calm zone. Of course, you can only do this on a very quiet street, like we have today. Sit. But you can still, you know, if you have a crosswalk and a light, you have plenty of time. You don't have to rush across. You can still walk her like that, make sure she doesn't pull, and then on the other side, have her sit, and this is where the walk starts. Go. And if you do that, literally, like it would have taken me maybe a minute and a half to start on the inside of my front door, do the gates, do the curb, cross the street, have her sit here and release her. And you start the walk with a much calmer dog. You start off the walk that way. And that means she might be really excited to go on a walk, but if you teach her every day that she needs to be calm and stay in a sit stay and do that boundary routine at the front door, she'll start calming herself down because she wants to be free out here. She knows where it ends up, and all these different places you stop, she calms herself down quicker and quicker because she knows how it goes, because you do it the same way every day. You create a pattern of behavior that she starts to anticipate every day, day after day, week after week, month after month, and you see that that really helps her gain self-control over herself in other situations as well. And you get to start a walk with a much calmer dog. I had a dog treat I dropped there earlier, so that's all she was eating. And you know, when you come out here, it makes her way less reactive if you start the walk that way, and it's way easier to handle distractions like other dogs or whatever you were having little issues with. Okay. Artemis hasn't seen it, but we have a dog approaching us. Just let him be free, okay? Yeah. And she sees a dog at a fence line. See how she turned back to me? Good girl. Now she's going to see that dog. Come. And this is how she is when she's completely surprised. She got a dog on that side and a dog here. Just come. So use your recall to call her away. She just wants to run over and be friendly and play or whatever, but still, you don't want her just pulling you around. See how she'll come back without me calling her now? That's because I've called her to come away from dogs a lot. And so, come. If you need to, you've got it there. The worst thing to do is to hold her like this, drag her around, because tension on the leash, a tight leash causes more overstimulation and could lead to leash aggression. So you never want to do that. You want to use your recall command, and you always want to keep that leash loose. And so she's going to go over there. See how I just tapped it? It's that tap and release. It's so much easier for anybody to do. Even if I don't call her, I can tap and release and back away and she comes my way. So I always handle the leash that way, especially in these types of situations. We have this little dog that just showed up on a walk, and we're calling her away from this little dog. Come. Good. Come. Good. This is a pretty lively little dog. So a dog that gets excited with little dogs, come. Will definitely get excited when they met this dog. Good. Come. We can get her pretty close now to another dog as long as we start calling her away as soon as the dog shows up. Come. And it is a desensitization exercise, what we're doing. And you see what starts to happen? She starts moving away without me even saying the come command. And so it starts out with her being really excited, call her away from that dog a few times, and then come. Good. That was good because the dog was rushing towards her. So every time you do this, it gets a little bit better. This is a dog she's never met before. We made sure that we were practicing with a new dog. Come. Good girl. So that's your move whenever you meet dogs on the street. Just practice calling her away from them, and then always, use your body to turn her away from any distraction like that. Call her back to you, get her next to you. Come on, let's go. And then move on. And don't stand there like we've been standing here, but I just wanted to show you worst case scenario and how she is in this situation now. Oh, excuse me. Sit. Practicing our little sit stay here. It's a good day to do it. Everybody's shopping. So I had her sit. You don't have to say stay because stay is implied when you say sit. So when you say sit, good girl. Wow, look at that. Nope. Hey, right here. Yep. Wow. Good girl. Yeah. So this is a lot. This is more than I thought would happen here. So she's losing focus here. Nope. I'm going to reset her. If she loses focus like this, just reset her like that. She kind of collapsed into a down. I said nope. And I reset her. You saw exactly how I do it. That's how you do it. So you reset. There's so much going on here. She's doing very well. I'm just shooting for a basic sit stay where she accepts me walking both ways around her. And then when she does something exceptional like this, you give her a reward. Straight down. Good. Eye contact, straight down. And no, make sure that she waits. This is kind of too much going on for her, but she's still somehow handling it. Make sure that she definitely waits until she's released. Keep that leash loose. With your right hand, she's on your left. Pat her chest and say, go. And she's free. Down. And in situations where it might be difficult for her to focus, I'm just going to, with my foot, help her when I say down. The worst thing to do would be to keep saying down and repeating it and then forcing her down. That way it never gets better. But if you ever have issues with her not dropping immediately with the down, just start doing this for a while. Down, and everything happens at once. And so it's all she knows is that she hears the command and she goes there immediately when hearing it. And that's because you're helping her a little bit with your left foot. And then very quickly, you don't have to do that anymore because she'll just start dropping without the foot. And she will do an immediate down in most situations, but not in a crazy situation like this where there's tons of stuff going on. Good. She's doing really well though. And nope, but if somebody talks to her like that, she might pop up. So I'm going to reset her. See how I just reset her like that? Put her back. And where are we going? Oh, I thought you were going to go this way.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, we have to move. There we go. Okay. It's like this is my store, right?
Yeah.
Why is everybody running into me? Put her back. So you see how she is in a really stressful situation. She stays calm. She's staying in down stays. She's doing really well. Just one more little walk around here. Going to give her a reward, then release her. And of course, everybody falls in love with her because she's so beautiful and she's so sweet. So good. She gets her reward. I'm going to go back, stand next to her.
Can I have a reward too?
Pat my leg and say, okay. She stands up. Always release her from the calm sit stay. Have her sit and then go. Go. She's free. No, you can walk past. It doesn't matter. Yeah. When I'm practicing the come command, I always do it the same way. If you do it the same way every time, it just becomes like second nature and it becomes very easy for you to do. Left hand leash, right hand reward. Come. And back away. Good. See, her nose touches my right hand target. My left hand at the same moment grabs the leash because the loop of the leash is over my wrist, so I have the left hand free, but I can always grab it like this too if I need to. So, excuse me. I'm gonna let this car figure out where he's going. When you back away, it makes her rush to you. If you practice that way every time, you're always backing away. Come, like this. Good. All she knows is that hundreds of times in a row, up to this point, she always runs to me when I say come, and it's because the way I practice. And you'll see later on, or even now, if your back is to a wall or something, she'll come running because that's all she knows. Because of the way you practice with her, she's run to you every time she hears the come command. Also, nothing's ever repeated. So if for some reason she does not come right away, and I'm going to create a distraction here with a treat. Hey, look at this. Go, there's a treat over there. You tap like that. Don't ever repeat the command. Good. So it would be like this. And this is a little exercise you can practice if you have nothing to call her away from. And that's another rule. Always call her when she's looking away from you, because that's real life. In real life, you're not really gonna need her to come to you or have a great recall when she's staring at you 10 feet away. It's gonna be, go. She's interested in something else. Come. Good. Just like that. So, always practice, like if you're by yourself, you can practice just tossing a treat, calling, you can let her grab it. You can let her take it, but then call her immediately as soon as she has it in her mouth, and you're calling her away from something back to you. And that's why this recall starts to get to be so solid, because you're practicing in real life situations. So always practice that way, and never repeat the command, ever. Always practice on a leash, unless it's an emergency, which wouldn't be practice, that would be real life. You always practice on a leash. In the emergency, you're probably gonna have it. She's gonna have that recall. Okay. We walk her up to the mat, we have her sit. Never a tight leash, so if she does try to break out of that sit and run to the mat before you release her, you just tap it and say no. So we're never restraining her, because that tension on the leash will make all the training go away, create stress in the dog, and all kinds of bad behavior. So leash is always leash. You're communicating with little taps, always. With your right hand, you're going to pat her chest and say, go to your mat, walk over with her, and say down. This is a mat that's been used by a few other dogs today, so she got distracted by the smells on the mat. So what I did was, it was just as important as to what I did not do. I didn't say it again. When she was hesitating and smelling that other dog on there, I just did this, barely touched the leash, and she went down. And so all she knows is some part of her heard the down command. She ended up going there the first time that she heard it. And that's really important, to never, ever repeat a command. When we're practicing the training with her, we're always using a leash, because no dog goes off leash until they're really, really, really well trained, which means they never make a mistake anymore, even in the highest of stressful situations. So, of course, we're always using a leash when we are training her. We're always set up for success. In an emergency, we want it to work without the leash, and because we practice and she does it the same way every time because we have the leash, that's when you're more likely to have it off leash. Especially the come command is the most important one to have off leash, of course. Good. See how she waits calmly until I set the reward on the mat and then withdraw? And anything that she does on this mat, she'll do off the mat now, because when she practices this mat for a few weeks, we start practicing the same stuff off the mat, which of course you'll see out in public, her doing these things. But this is how I got her to that point, by doing the mat from day one. Good. See how I reward her? It's very simple, it's very calm. You're holding on to the little reward here, and you are placing it on the mat. You're not throwing it down there, you're not rolling it towards her, you're placing it on the mat, and then you just let go of it and withdraw, and she takes it. She tries to touch your hand or take it out of your hand, or she's hyper. You need to pull back and say no. No, maybe you have to do that a couple times. She might test you at first. When she's back home with you, I'm not there, she might test you. If you do that, she'll wait, and you'll withdraw, she'll take it, you'll say good, then she'll know that she has to do it the same way with you. So there's all kinds of things you can do on the mat. In our house, which I'm not going to film today, I can put her on the mat, I can go outside, knock on the door, ring the doorbell, go to the window and bang on the windows, and she won't move. I'm going to do that at your house. I'll show you inside at your place. But out here, it's just easier for us to film. So we're just going to start with the simple stuff. pulling on the leash. Most dogs will pop up and come over to us when we do that. Good. Also notice how I'm rewarding her. I'm not creeping towards her like this slowly and going like this, because you could trigger her to pop up, and it's just kind of weird anyway. So you take the treat out of your pouch and swing in like this, so you don't have that reward. Good. Hanging over her, so she might think you're trying to, tease her, and she'll jump up and grab it. So just swing in from in front like that and place it on the mat. This is a big yard, it's fenced, so I can step out, make sure these things aren't in the way. I'm gonna go over here. Let's see how she does. I don't think I practiced this, so let's see if she make a mistake. She already did, she followed me. So you say no, you take the leash, step into her, do a little circle there, put her back. Notice I didn't say D-O-W-N again. I just said no, and I put her back, and I stayed calm. It's not about correcting her and being angry at her, so stay calm. Don't get stressed. If you're doing something that you haven't practiced before, or something she's having trouble with, it's okay to remind her before you do it, down. So I'm going to walk here, open this gate, close it behind me. That was good. This is a difficult gate for them to handle because when she's loose in this yard, and this is one of the main yards where she just hangs out in, we're always coming and going through that gate, and she runs up to greet us, she chases us there, follows us there, so she's not used to not going there when somebody comes or goes, so that's why this is hard. So let's try something even harder. Down. I've reminded her what to keep doing. I'm going to do this gate. Now I'm going to do the other gate and disappear out on the street. Close the door behind me. I can't tell if she's gotten up or not. I'll find out when I come back in. Good. So she's so good at this now that if you go to a new situation, to try something new, most times she'll make one mistake and then you put her back and she gets it. Oh, this is just like all the other places I practice this at. Good. And I usually do this exercise 5 minutes a day or so. And I time it usually. And I just try to do a couple of things work up to a couple of things that are more difficult for her. And she might make a mistake. I get past them. She has successes. She gets rewarded for those successes. And then we're done. It's better if you do less. It's better to do not enough, less than too much. And it's actually, if you do 3 minutes as opposed to 10 minutes where she might lose focus or get frustrated, start making mistakes. 3 minutes, always end while she's got some focus left, end on a success, and you'll actually get much farther, much quicker as time goes on. So the only way she leaves a downstay on this mat, or even off the mat, regular downstay, is she waits till you come back next to her. You got the leash like this. Pat your leg. You can hold on to the leash and pat your leg. Okay. Lead her off the mat and say sit. We always release her from a calm sit stay. You saw how she jumped up all hyper-like out of the downstay. Most dogs will do that, so we don't end it that way. We want to end it with a calm release or a calmer release. It's much easier to reinforce a calm release from a sit stay than it is from a downstay. So my right hand, the leash is always loose. Remember, you're never forcing her to sit there. Go, and you release her. It's a much calmer release, and really this is all about the little things like that, how you release, how you reward, how you deliver the reward, and also how calmly you release her, because if you do things in a way that make her excited and you end the whole exercise with her being hyper like that or excited, you're destroying that calmness that we want to develop in her. Every time we release her, we want her to be just a little bit calmer. So that's why those little details are very important. This is not a doggy bed. This is only whatever mat you choose to use for this specific exercise is only for that one thing. She goes on with your permission. She comes off with your permission. You put it away. She's not allowed to go hang out on it or sleep on it or anything. That's for a doggy bed, and that's a free time place. It has nothing to do with training. she will associate this mat, the mat you designate as the go to your place mat. She will associate that with extreme focus and calmness and doing only this one behavior with you, and it'll be a lot more powerful if she only uses it for that one exercise with you and nothing else. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Sit. We always have her sit before we put her in the crate, and this crate door is always closed. It's closed when she's in and it's closed when she's out, and we make sure that she waits, and with your right hand, go. Send her in the crate. She loves to go in the crate because whenever she goes in, there was a treat already in there, but she turns around, hey sweetie, look. And normally there's not a treat waiting for her in the back like it was this time. Hey, look. She turns around, you send her in, she turns around, she gets a treat, and then we take off. While she's munching on that, we take off the training collars, which is attached to the leash, and close the door. Now her routine here has been this all throughout the day. Every hour and a half or so she goes outside, and then she comes back in this way. We do the doorway, the front door thing, and across the room, sits in front of the crate, does this. And we don't take this off every time, but definitely overnight you want to take the training collars off. And this choke chain is only for when you take her out in public, because it would be very dangerous to use this for training because it could mess up her throat. It's just, there's no safety there, it's all right there, and it's metal, of course. So this is only for safety. It's doubled up on the and attached to the leash, just like the prong collar is, just in case the prong collar comes off. It is looser than the prong collar, so it's always hanging loose, but just in case that comes off, when it comes off and you're out on the street, then you don't lose the dog. So it's just a safety, and then you can re-hook up the prong collar if you have to. So that's why we use the prong collar, and it happens several times a year, and I'm always glad that I doubled up, so I would recommend you keep doing that just in case. When you take this stuff off, you hang up the prong collar on the door, because if you just throw it down in a pile, it will get tangled up in itself. And so just hang it up on the door like that. The leash and the choke chain you can do whatever you want with. She sleeps overnight in the crate. There's always blankets or towels in there for her. It's comfortable. And we feed her in there, so we bring her food to her, open the door, give it to her, close the door. She eats in the crate. Everything good happens in the crate. Bones and chewies and anything that she loves is in the crate, because we want her to have a great association with being in there, and also just with being sent in. Like, she went in, there was a treat waiting in the back, which I didn't know about until I actually sent her in, but then she was eating it. But then when she turned around to come back, she got another treat before I took this stuff off and closed the door. So her association with hands coming in or going in the crate or coming out of the crate is always good, because we've always given her a gift at every step. So I would recommend you keep doing that. And then you always have this crate as a way to manage her. If you have people over that aren't good with dogs, she can be in her crate in the back room and chewing on a bone or something. If you have to travel with her, she's used to the crate. It's just a great way to manage her. If things get kind of crazy, you always have the crate to put her in. I'd have it in a quiet area behind a closed door, like a back bedroom or somewhere like that. If a dog is in a crate in the main area where all the commotion is, where all the activity is, they can get overstimulated because they're confined. Some dogs that are protective, it can even cause aggression because they're in their crate. It's a vulnerable place to be, and you have strangers walking past and walking around. So we always put the crate in a back area behind a closed door. It's her quiet place. So you always want to do that. It is also part of the training, so it adds a lot of structure to her life. You saw how she had to wait before I allowed her in, and we do the same thing coming out. So let's say that she's been in here for a little while. I'm going to take her out. We're going to go on a walk. I'm going to open the door. First thing I do is give her a treat, like we always do. And then let's say I'm going to take her out on the street. I'm going to put this choke chain over her head first. And then I've got the leash already attached to the prong collar. If she tries to come out before you release her, just do a little, kind of do that and say no. So we have this little prong collar. This prong collar goes on right below her ears, so it's the collar above the others, so it's right there and the other collars are down below. And it should always come up by her right ear because she's going to be on your left. And if she waits like this, I'm always going to give her a treat. Good. And I'm even going to do this little exercise that I practice with them, with all the dogs, waiting at this boundary, just like any other boundary. We step back, she waits, she gets a reward. If she doesn't wait, no, you have to do that. Make sure that she doesn't come out until she actually does it the right way. Don't give her a treat unless she does it the right way. One last treat, and then pat your leg and say, okay, and she'll come out. Always keep this door closed because you won't have any power with this crate unless you control her access in and out. And so you don't want to leave it open so she can just come and go as she pleases. You would kind of squander your power of the crate if you let her go in and out without permission. So you don't do any training in there. Once she's in there, that's her place, but you do control her coming in and out. So that's the way that we use the crate. Okay.